Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. Happy to welcome Angie Dennis, who has a very interesting story and an important message for us this morning. Good morning, Angie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, let's get started kind of like who you are. Why are you here today? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a mom. A mom of an addict.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been active ever since I noticed the epidemic in America unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
I could kind of see it coming before our son became addicted, but it kind of unfolded at the same exact time. So once I saw what was happening, because I work in the hospitals and I go to many different hospitals. So I was in and out, and I started noticing that the kids were becoming younger.
Mm-hmm.
I was seeing girls as much as boys, and they were coming from good families.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I have been advocating and trying to get lawmakers on board and fighting for all of our children, our loved ones. A lot of good people involved in this epidemic.
We're talking about opiates, right? And opioids.
Yes.
And so often we find out that someone really, through no fault of their own, they're just following doctor's orders, taking a prescription, and end up getting hooked on their painkiller. Is that what happened in the case of your son?
Yes, that is exactly what happened. And unfortunately, he was 16. So when he fell working and developed a spinal injury, I trusted the top doctors at the hospital that he went to for his first surgery. And I tell everyone, opioids, a lot of recidivism, about 99% when you send your loved one to a rehab, is because everyone wants to treat it like it's a morality issue. This is not. There are good people, school teachers, police officers, judges, lawyers, that have walked the straight and narrow their entire lives and became hooked on their pain pills. And a lot of people don't know this, but in the poppy plant, there is a molecule that is not water soluble. It will not break down into glucose. It can't be excreted from the human body. 10,000 other drugs can. And instead, this one molecule latches onto the brain receptors and hijacks a person's reasoning.
Wow.
So that pretty soon their family, their job, food, money, their friends, and even their own life hold zero value. So instead of treating this as a morality issue, we really need to step back and see it for the molecular one that it truly is, because there are even farmers, and those are the backbone of America, that are hooked.
You seem to have done a lot of research. You are a woman who knows her subject. Let's talk about your son a little bit. You said you noticed some things that were changing. Tell me about him before the accident.
Jordan was a wonderful, hard-working kid. Very strong. He had a better work ethic than most men. And he had a lot of money that he had saved on his own from working in his bank account. And he loved hunting and fishing and trapping and outdoors. He was the type of person that if you asked him a question, he would tell you the truth, even if it was something bad. If you caught him in something, he would be like, yeah, you got me. That was before the addiction.
What did you notice changed about him?
As he became addicted, the secrecy, the wanting to hide text messages, communication stopped. He would hide from us, not be part of the family, avoided us, started to become kind of a loner and just dishonest, not who we raised, definitely not who we had known. It was almost like the real son had died.
And he was 16, you say, at that time, as this was
16. Yes, he fell lifting a 200-pound pine tree on his grandpa's tree farm and blew a bubble out on his spinal column.
Oh, my goodness. So schooling, did he finish school? How old is he now, may I ask?
28.
Wow. Okay. So you've really been through this. You've got quite the journey to tell us about. Did he complete high school? Did he get through?
He did, but not like most kids. Because of the spinal injury, he wasn't able to do his homework sitting, and he was laying around on his tummy. He couldn't sit and eat dinner with us at the dinner table. He couldn't go to Mass with us on the weekends. He couldn't even enjoy a trip to the movie theater or ride his, four-wheeler, anything that he had loved. And after he became addicted, money started missing. Things weren't adding up. And his personality became Jekyll and Hyde.
Wow. A lot of folks are listening right now, and they're really nervous because some of the things you're describing can be attributed to other things like adolescence. Sometimes 16-year-old boys will make bad decisions, but it doesn't have anything to do with being addicted to a drug. Is there some kind of thing you would say to that person? How do you know your child so you know the difference?
Well, first of all, we would all like to think my child would never do that.
Sure.
And, we believe that. We're kind of arrogant because we have instilled values and morals and ethics. I think when they become addicted, though, sure, it is normal for some children, to want to resist or go against the grain, and they're trying to find their independence or their niche or where they fit in. But with addiction, the eyes look very different. You have the pinpoint pupils with opioids. You have the scratching, the nodding off. And all of a sudden, there's a lot of car accidents, fender benders. So it is more than just a typical transition from, a young child into puberty.
Interesting. You should say the eyes, the window to the soul. That's so interesting and so insightful. Well, certainly he finished his prescription. So where did he continue to get opioids to continue to feed this need that he suddenly had?
Well, yes, he finished his prescription, and we had weaned him off and locked the pills in a gun safe and made a log and withdrew like 2.5 milligrams every week. And I thought that we had him completely off of them. And it was only when I got a call from a sheriff, a friend of ours, that said, I have a message that I want you to listen to. And he had recorded Jordan with the help of another boy. And he was saying, you bring me the merchandise, I want the pills. When I realized that, I was like, okay, so, where could he be buying pills from? So I pulled up his cell phone log. And a lot of parents don't think to do these things. Yeah. We want to trust our children. We want to give them kind of a little free rein or room to spread their wings. When I pulled up Jordan's cell phone and went through the log, it was only football players, coaches, and dads. There was not one number on there that I didn't know. And so I enlisted the help of the DEA, and he went through the log with me. And I said, what do you see here? How can we find where this is happening? And he said, they're all involved. Oh, and I was like, what do you mean? This is our high school football team. And he said, I warned the school years ago that a storm was coming.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, to a mother's heart, what does that do? What did you do next?
I panicked. It was all around me. It was my community, my neighbors, kids I had coached like in cheerleading, their parents. It was everywhere. And then I would go to the hospitals and I would take care of them. And we started getting robbed. We were robbed like 4 times in 3 years. And all of our neighbors were. And we were reading about, more crime in the newspaper. And I got together with a couple other women, and we went through the yearbook, and we Googled each child's name. And it took a while to do this, but it wasn't a very big school. And when we did, we would find mugshots, and the mugshots would say Steph, or, the charge. And then I would correlate that with Google for the newspaper archives. And that is when I started to uncover that they were thieving or stealing or breaking the law because there was a drug problem. Once I realized that, I reached out to some of them that had gone to prison or jail, and I just asked them, tell me your story.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved? And they said, injuries, sports injuries. And we did the pills so that we could play the game. It made us feel invincible. And then all of a sudden, one day, we couldn't find the pills anymore. Oddly enough, I had started with the Madison County Substance Abuse Coalition,
Mm-hmm.
and we had sat around a table one day, and it was the judges, prosecutors, EMT, a couple superintendents from other schools, but not ours, and just talked about what we were seeing. And we knew that there was an epidemic. And we would have meetings like twice a month. Like, how do we go about collecting statistics? What are we going to do to guide this, fix it, solve it, keep the other children from becoming involved, the younger generation?
Yeah.
And they told us, like, we're pulling back on pain pills. And we warned them, you will drive heroin.
Oh.
And that is exactly what happened. And they knew it was coming, but kind of treated it like, we'll just deal with that bridge when we get to it.
So trading one drug for another drug, not solving the problem, not attacking the problem. Man, they messed with the wrong woman, didn't they, though? I mean,
well,
not every
that wasn't
mom.
my design.
Some moms would grieve and despair and certainly pray. You probably, I'm sure, did all those things and then really got to business, didn't you? You have. Let's let everybody know. I'm looking at the clock right now, and I just want to let everyone know this has a very happy ending that we want to spread the word about. And Angie, tell us just in one 1 minute, what did you find? At what point turned this around?
When I found BioCore RX, a company, and I found them online, and they offered this implant that could be put into someone. They make a small incision by the navel. The whole procedure takes 20 minutes. They only use a topical, and they insert it over like under the abdominal tissue. And a couple of sutures, and you're done. Okay. It lasts for 4 to 6 months. It keeps someone from having any urge or desire to use the opioids. It solves all cravings. And from the moment that was put into our son, we had him back.
Okay.
And that was 3 years ago.
It sounds pretty wild, I've got to tell you. So we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back and let you explain a little bit more. We are visiting with Angie Dennis, talking about BioCore RX. Is this the answer to the drug and alcohol problem that we've been seeing? Stay with us. You're listening to Our Community.